Well, Google is the latest tech company to lay off thousands of staff. 12,000 workers, in fact, are being trimmed after rapid expansions during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's talk more about these tech layoffs now with our technology expert, Carmi Levy. Carmi, thanks for joining us this afternoon. So it's, Google today. We've seen Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, Twitter, all losing jobs. What's going on here? I thought tech was the industry to get into.
Well, it still is, and these numbers certainly are scary. They're all well into the five figures. They're all coming in fairly rapid succession. So, Nick, it's pretty clear something's going on in tech. It is not that this is the end of the world. In other words, we shouldn't all be running screaming from the room. What is happening, though, is a bit of a reckoning, almost a readjusting. All of these companies hired big time, significant numbers as the pandemic first got underway. Demand for their services skyrocketed. They needed the people and the technology and the processes to handle that demand. And so what we're seeing now as the pandemic slowly kind of moves behind us, not over yet, of course, but the demand for these services is really starting to slacken off and they don't need as many people. So they're right-sizing. Mark Zuckerberg admitted that they overhired as the pandemic began. So there's a bit of an adjustment and recognizing that the economic conditions are different. But if you look at the size of all of the companies that have reported these layoffs over the last couple of months, they're still much larger now than they were when all this started. So, adjustment, but really structurally, there's still a lot of strength underneath.
Right sizing, that's an interesting way of putting it instead of downsizing necessarily. Carmi, the question I suppose too is tech that different from sort of the rest of the business climate? Indeed, we keep hearing about all these layoffs. Are they just dealing with this because of what's happening in the pandemic, the hiring, or are other industries in similar state right now?
I think they're all connected. What's different here, though, is that tech is a bit of a bellwether. When things start to slow down economically, the clouds start to gather on the horizon. The first thing that a lot of companies do is they look at their investments in technology and they go, well, where can I start saving? And they start pulling back on technology first. So unfortunately for tech companies, they're the first ones who are kind of seeing that at the front of the wave, so to speak, and we would expect to see similar layoffs in other sectors of the economy after. Of course, I don't cover them, but that generally tends to be what happens. Technology leads. But at the same time, what often happens is that this is the opportunity as the economy starts to get a little bit more turbulent, is the really smart companies are looking at it as an opportunity to innovate, to kind of go pedal to the metal on those investments. We always see big advancements in technology, big investments in technology following economic turbulence, and I would expect the same thing to play out here.
Okay, that's interesting too. Then also, speaking of innovations, Carmi, one of the things we're hearing more and more about these days, of course, is artificial intelligence, which kind of takes people out of the equation in many cases. How much of AI is driving what we're seeing here?
Right now, I think obviously AI is getting a lot of headlines. We're seeing a lot of news about ChatGPT, for example. But it's still not a large enough economic force. There still aren't these huge investments across the full economy for that to really be reflected in these numbers. But going forward, there's no doubt it is going to have an impact on the layout, the distribution, kind of what the job market looks like. Some jobs will disappear, be affected by it, but at the same time, other jobs will be created. And just like we've seen with previous generations of net new, radically new technologies, there's a lot of fear, but generally speaking, the opportunity outweighs what we lose in the process. So we'll have more jobs, we will lose some jobs, but we'll gain more on the back end.
Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting. It's that back end, I suppose, we wait for. In the meantime, there's one big tech job that I'm really curious about, Carmi, and that is the CEO of Twitter. I'm old enough to remember when Elon Musk put a tweet out and a poll out saying that he would resign if enough people sort of voted yes to him to resign. It was an overwhelming, like 57, 58% of people did say that. But as far as I know, he's still running the company. Has there been any movement, any suggestion of anything there?
Yeah, we're hearing a lot of speculation and rumor, but certainly Elon Musk isn't saying anything. He didn't say when that would happen. So, of course, he's not like he's lying to us. He's just, and at the same time, also, Twitter is no longer a publicly traded company, so it's not subject to the same kind of rules. He owns it. It's kind of his playground, his ball. And so if he decides to take a few months to vacate the corner office and bring someone else in, it's kind of up to him. But I'm certainly watching, like a lot of other people, and I certainly want him to do what he committed to do. He told us that the people have spoken. He should be listening to the people at this point.
Well, I'm listening to you, Carmi. Anytime you're talking, technology expert Carmi Levy. Appreciate this. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Nick. You as well.
All right, take care.